So last week, the Justice Department ruled that General Michael Flynn, who was spied on and investigated 4 years ago, was wrongly investigated, and the investigation was unwarranted. This caused the Justice Department to disclose a lot of official documents pertaining to this matter. There were listed names of people who asked for the unmasking of General Michael Flynn, and among those names is Obama and Biden. Joe Biden claimed that he had nothing to do with this unmasking and he doesn't recall anything of the sorts happening, but after the release of this document, it is clear that Joe Biden has lied because his name is on this official document.
Very pleasant good morning to you, Sandra. I'm Ed Henry. The officials who were authorized to receive that information include Joe Biden, the former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Chief James Comey, the former Treasury Secretary Jack Lew, former CIA Director John Brennan, former UN Ambassador Samantha Power, and President Obama's Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough.
Those officials all making requests that may have identified Flynn as the American overheard in that December 2016 call, talking to the Russian ambassador about lifting U.S. sanctions. President Trump and Republicans calling it proof the Obama administration sought to undermine him from the very beginning.
Now, what is unmasking and why were they spying on General Flynn in the first place? Around 4 years ago, General Flynn pled guilty to collusion with Russians after he was investigated and found that he was in talks with a Russian ambassador. This resulted in him losing his house, and there are rumors that there were threats that if he did not comply and plead guilty, then his son would be thrown in jail as well. So it's just a lot of nasty dealings going on. How this came to be is they used the FISA warrant to indirectly spy on General Flynn by claiming to spy on this foreign ambassador. The information is not supposed to be disclosed because they're only supposed to know about this ambassador and nothing about this US citizen. Obama and Biden had asked that this information get released, so they unmasked General Flynn. They got a lot of information and used that information to say that Flynn was in collusion with the Russians. Now, to explain why they felt the need to spy on this General Flynn, we need to go back to before former President Obama's re-election, back to Benghazi. Now, there's a lot of things that happened before this Benghazi, a lot of other scandals, but I'll start here for simplicity. Back before Obama's re-election, there was a hit, a riot, an attack, whatever you may call it, on Benghazi. During this attack on Benghazi, an ambassador was killed, and important documents pertaining to Hillary Clinton were coincidentally destroyed in a fire and burned up during the attack. To cover their tracks, they used a documentarian and claimed that his documentary is the cause of this riot, and it enraged these rioters, and that's what caused them to start their attack on Benghazi. This is completely false, and there's nothing that this man said in his documentary to warrant that type of attack. They used this man as a scapegoat to say that there were other reasons for the attack on Benghazi other than it was just planned. During this attack, there was also a military force nearby that could have well prevented this attack, or at least helped, maybe saving this ambassador's life and saving the documents from being burnt up as well. But through a command from someone unknown, the military was told to stand down, so they were unable to intervene with this attack on Benghazi. Now, a couple months later after that, the government needed a way to replace these documents that have been destroyed. So they went to Hillary Clinton and asked to search her official documents to get replacements for them. After a long time of denying the government access to her documents and files, the government found out that Hillary had her own private server with a lot of classified emails and classified documents on them. Having her own private server is in itself illegal. And what's more, after they found this server, Hillary had somebody wipe the server clean, deleting all the emails. She claimed that the server was just used to talk with Chelsea and have these casual conversations. However, that turned out not to be true. There were Chinese and Russian hackers that got access to these classified emails and classified documents because Hillary's server was not properly guarded. And through WikiLeaks, they leaked this information to the public. And it turns out that this private server was used to hold classified information. Despite all this, James Comey decides not to press charges against Hillary Clinton, and she does not end up going to jail for these crimes that anyone else would have been put to jail for. Hillary Clinton also sold 20% of the United States uranium to Russia in their Uranium One deal. During this time, Russia was still a major threat to America. America was rightfully scared of Russia's armed powers and nuclear weapons. Regardless of this, Hillary Clinton decided to sell this uranium, which is used to make these devastating weapons. A little while later, the Clinton Foundation got a huge sum of money out of nowhere. If that isn't colluding with Russians, then I don't know what is. Hillary Clinton has done the exact same thing that they have constantly tried to pin Trump for. During Obama's re-election, Mitt Romney, who easily could have outed all of this information, didn't do so for whatever reason. He just didn't have the tactic to disclose all this information that would have destroyed Obama. Fast forward to 2016, and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are running for president. After Obama's term ended, they needed somebody in the White House who can keep all of this dirt secret and can keep everything that they did covered up. So they try to get Hillary Clinton to become the Democratic nominee for president. In doing so, they managed to cheat Bernie out of Democratic nominee, and Hillary Clinton is nominated instead. A Bernie Sanders supporter, Seth Rich, who knew about this cheating and knew about this rigged election, decided to uncover some emails sent by Hillary Clinton that proved that this was their plan to get Bernie knocked out of the election and rig the election. After finding these emails, he tried to disclose them to the public and send them to WikiLeaks, but surprise, surprise, Seth was found to be dead. Seth Rich was murdered right before he could disclose this information. Now, on the Republican side, Donald Trump is on pace to win the election. So Donald Trump clearly has a character to out everyone for all the dirt that they've done in the past. So they try to get something on his campaign to try to ruin it. They just try to find out what they can so that they can gain the upper hand on Donald Trump so that he won't win the election. So they try to wiretap his phones, but they can't legally do this. So through the FISA warrant, they try to paint this narrative that Trump is in collusion with Russians to win the election. Once they paint this narrative, they will legally be allowed to tap his phone and indirectly spy on Donald Trump. So that's one scandal. But to create this scandal, to create this narrative, to support this fabricated narrative, they need to fabricate something else. So they take a call that General Flynn made with a Russian ambassador and they wiretap him on it. So they indirectly spy on General Flynn and unmask his information so that they can paint this narrative that Donald Trump got him and Papadopoulos to collude with Russia in his place. So they got General Flynn and Papadopoulos to take the fall just so that they can paint this narrative that Donald Trump is colluding with Russia. They used a scandal to create a basis for another scandal, just so that they can take down Donald Trump before he goes into office and potentially expose all the dirty works of Obama and Hillary. Now fast forward to last week, like I said previously, the Department of Justice has ruled that the investigation of General Flynn was unwarranted, and so they disclosed all this information, disclosing that Obama and Biden in fact did purposefully unmask General Flynn. The Democrats will try to do something dirty and then immediately cover up their tracks so that's near impossible to trace them back to the act. Donald Trump has been trying to uncover the Democrats, but through scandal after scandal and accusation after accusation, it's been really hard for Donald Trump to actually officially call them out on it. They've been using these tactics of accusing Trump before he can accuse them, and through hypocrisy, blame Donald Trump for things that they themselves have done way worse in the past. Satan has been known to use this tactic to prevent people from doing good by accusing them before they can accomplish their goal. Satan will use this fear response from accusations to get them off track from their goal. He'll use them to distract them from doing good and stop them from coming after him. To stop them from coming after him, he'll make them feel guilty of doing something wrong. Most people will stop seeking this judgment because they don't want this dirt on them. This is a very powerful psychological tactic that Satan uses. The divine principle says, Satan is constantly accusing all people before God, as he did Job, in order to drag them into hell. However, even Satan cannot perpetrate his evil activity unless he first finds an object partner with whom he can form a common base and engage in give and take action. The kingdom of heaven on earth is a restored world which Satan can no longer instigate any activity. To realize this world, it is necessary for all of humanity to eliminate their common base with Satan, restore their common base with God, and engage in give and take action with him. The prophecy that in the last days God will confine Satan to a bottomless pit signifies that Satan will utterly be incapable of any activity, since there will no longer be any counterpart with whom Satan can relate. In order to eliminate our common base with Satan and be capable of judging him, we must understand the identity and crime of Satan and accuse him before God. It says that the kingdom of heaven is a place where no one is able to listen to Satan's accusation, where everyone ignores Satan's claims, and everyone is able to identify Satan's tricks before he's able to use them. This was the bottomless pit that the divine principle and the Bible was talking about. A bottomless pit where Satan can't grab onto anything. This means Satan can't grab a hold of anyone and no one will listen to him. They can't be affected by anything Satan does. This bottomless pit is our mastery over Satan. If you think some of the points that Satan brings up are important, and there are some merits to him bringing it up, you lost and have now been distracted of completing your goal. This is what the Democrats do. They will shift blame and conjure up accusations out of nothing, just to distract Trump from outing them or investigating them. This has been Satan's tactic for a long time, and this is also the tactic that the Democrats are using on Donald Trump. Whenever he gets close to investigating them, whenever he gets close to actually arresting Hillary Clinton, they bring something up. They impeach him, they accuse him for similar things, and they get him to deal with all of these other accusations just to stop him from getting to his goal of actually arresting the people who need to be arrested, like Hillary, Obama, and Joe Biden. This is just some of the scandals that Hillary Clinton and Obama have done throughout the years. There are countless scandals, and this Obamagate has gone unchecked for a very, very long time. But now Donald Trump's trying to get to the bottom of this. Joe Biden has been caught flat out lying about Michael Flynn and his knowledge about unmasking. If Donald Trump gets reelected, he will have the time to finally prosecute these people who are supposedly above the law. The reason they fear Donald Trump is because he has the character to go after them and ignore these accusations. What I've said here is just a small fragment, a small portion of everything that they've done. We need to be able to ignore the accusations that come from the devil so that we could focus on our real goal. His accusations hold no power. Once we start realizing that, we can start moving forward to the kingdom of heaven.